Hello everyone, welcome you all to the series of MATLAB tutorial. In last session, we learned about the MATLAB decision making structure. Under that, we learned if statement. With the extension of MATLAB decisions, today we will talk next decision making structure in the MATLAB, and that is MATLAB switch statement. We will begin by quick flashback on the MATLAB decision makings. Then we will start our learning with the switch statement. Then we will go for looking different use cases of switch statement, switch syntax in the MATLAB, and finally nested switch statement. As usual, for your better understanding, I will cover this session with the live demonstration of the MATLAB scripting examples. So let's start with a quick recap on the MATLAB. So decision-making structure requires that the programmer should specify one or more conditions to be evaluated or tested by the programmer, along with the statement or the statement to be executed if condition is determined to be true. In MATLAB, decision-making structure allow you to control the flow of your program based on the specific conditions. There are different use cases of the decision makings, that is the conditional execution, switch between cases, loop control, and the function output. Decision-making structure help you to make your MATLAB programs more flexible and responsive to different scenarios. And this is the general form of MATLAB decision-making structure, and we have seen that. We start with the program, then once the condition is met, we look for if the condition is true, then we execute the code or the conditional code or the statement which is written under the next of the conditional checks. And then the program ends. But if the condition is false, then we don't execute the statement which are written under the condition when it makes true. So once it is false, the loop goes to the directly terminate the program. This is the general form of MATLAB decision making structure. Statement. In MATLAB, the switch statement is used to execute one of the several groups of statements based on the value of variable or expression. A switch block conditionally executes one set of statements from several choices. Each choice is covered by a case statement. Evaluated switch expression is a scalar or a string. These are the basic points about the switch statement. An evaluated case expression is a scalar, string, or a cell array of scalars of strings. The switch block tests each case until one of the cases is true. Now how it works actually. So switch expression there, this is a variable or the expression you want to evaluate. Here you need to write the variable. Then the case expression. Under the case expression, these are the values or conditions to compare against the switch expression. And inside the otherwise, the optional block executes if none of the case conditions are met. So it's optional. We start always with the switch expression, then the case expression, and if required in some cases, it's optional. We write the otherwise. There are a few key points when dealing with this switch statement in the MATLAB. And those are, the first one is a switch block tests each case until one of the case expression is true. For numbers, a case is true if case expression is equal to the switch expression. For character vectors, a case is a true if string compare, that is the case expression, switch expression is equal to true, that is the Boolean 1. For objects that supports the equation function, a case is true if case expression is equal to switch expression. If no case matches, the otherwise block, if present, execute. That means the optional. And the last point is a case expression cannot include relational operators like less than or equal to for, or less than or greater than for a comparison against the switch expression. Use if, else statement for such comparison. The switch statement in MATLAB does not fall through like in other program languages, example C. Once a matching case is found, MATLAB executes the corresponding statements and exits the switch block. These are the key points we should know about the switch statement. Switch statement in a MATLAB is versatile and can be used in the various scenarios to simplify code and improve the readability. And we are talking about few of the important use cases, and here are some of the common use cases. The first one is a menu selection. You can use a statement to handle the different menu options in user interface. Second is a plotting different graphs. Depending on the type of plots the user wants, you can use a switch statement to generate different types of plots. Third is a handling different data types. When processing different types of data, a switch statement can help manage the logic based on the data type. State machines. In control system or simulations, switch statement can be used to manage different states of the systems. Error handling. You can use switch statement to handle different error code and provide appropriate messages. Improved reliability. The switch statement provides a clear and organized way to handle the multiple conditions compared to the nested if-else statement. This makes the code easier to read and maintain. And the last point is efficient execution. In many cases, switch statement can be more efficient than the multiple if-else if statements, especially when dealing with a large number of conditions. And these are the benefits or the use cases of the switch statement in MATLAB over the if-else. And another point is a structured error handling. That is another important use case. Using switch statement, it can help in structuring error handling more effectively. By defining specific case blocks for a different error codes or the conditions, you can provide clear and concise error messages or the actions. Now let's look for how the syntax works in the MATLAB and how it is written. So when a case is true, MATLAB executes the corresponding statement and then exits the switch block. The otherwise block is optional and executes only when no case is true. Certainly, here is the syntax for the switch statement in the MATLAB. Now let's see how the syntax is written. We start with keyword switch and then we write the expression, that is the case expression 1. And once it is true, then it goes for the statements of, and then we write the case here, that is a statement for the case 1. Then you write the statement, then the case 2. Here you write the case expression 2, then the statement for the case 2, and the otherwise, and then goes for the statements if no case matches. Finally, the keyword used and, the way it is used in the if and, if else, that way we have to write here and also. And this is the simple syntax how it works. It starts with the switch. Then we write the different cases, otherwise is optional, and we end. So in simple explanation about the switch case is a switch expression, that is the variable or the expression you want to evaluate. Case expression is the value or the condition to compare against the switch expression. And then lastly, the otherwise an optional block that execute if none of the case condition are met. And the time for the switch statement in the MATLAB. Now, I already have created the program to save your time. Let's open the program and go line by line, and I will explain what the program is made for. I'm starting with the basic switch statement, and here the example which I have created that demonstrate a basic switch statement and which displays the different messages based on the value of a variable. Which variable I have created here is the name of the variable is a day, and inside that I'm storing the character values, that is a Monday by default I have created here. And down here is the switch case is written. Starting with the switch, then we write the variable and then different cases. These are the case statements. First case is if the variable is Monday, then we have to display the message that is start of the work week. Another case is Friday. You can change this case, and we have to display the message that is the end of the work week. Case 3 is a state Saturday, and there we are displaying the message that is the weekend. And finally, case 4 is a Sunday, where we can write it's a weekend, and otherwise we want to show the message that it's a weekday. It's a very simple program, and at the end we are ending this. So case, and here is the statement which we want to display with respect to this case. Now let's run this section and let's see how it goes. If I enter control enter, then we are starting with the work week. This message displayed, we are starting, it's a start of the work week because the Monday is true. Now let me change this. If I change instead of Monday, if I let me make this bigger, okay, and if I go instead of Monday, if I write, let's say Tuesday, okay, and if I run this program, control enter, then you got the day variable is updated with Tuesday character, and it displayed that midweek day because none of the case is written for the Tuesday, and that is the reason it jumped to the otherwise and displayed the midday week. If I go for, let's say, Sunday, and if I run this, control enter, you get the weekend. Very interesting point I'm gonna bring here. Let's write the capital Sunday and see what happens. Okay, now here is Sunday and here is the case Sunday. So what ideally should happen? Okay, now let's run this. It is a midweek day. Why? Because the MATLAB is a case sensitive language. It sense, is it a capital or it is a small letter used. So as it is written in the capital letters, it case is considered as an otherwise case. It is not defined anywhere, and that is the reason it displayed mid-week days, and here we got the day Sunday. Okay. Now the next example is here. I'm gonna show you is a switch statement with the multiple cases. Not exactly the multiple cases, but this example shows how to handle multiple values for a single case using a cell array. Earlier, what we used, only one value used in the case, right? The Saturday or Friday. But here I wanted to use the multiple values for a single case, and I'm using the array actually, cell array. Now let's see. I'm starting with variable name plot type, and again this is a character. When we use this single quote inside that, if we write something, it is treated as a character. And here is the array created with the values 12, 64, 24, and starting with this switch. First case is if it is bar, then bar of x, and we are plotting that actually. In the case 2, pi, and here I'm passing the two values. You can see here. Otherwise, we are writing here that is unexpected plot type and no plot created. Now let's see what happens here. If I run this section, let me clear this. So here is the result. The figure is created here. 3D pie chart is created. Okay, I will close this. Again, I will clear screen, clear workspace. Okay, now let's run again. Control enter. You see here, the plot is again created. You see here, the plot is again created, right? So 12%, 24%, and 64%. And here is the values are taken. Let's look, take the value 10, 60, and 30. Okay. Now let's run this. Control enter and see the plot. Here is the plot. You can see the 10, 13, 60. And this is how you can plot. And this is what the plot is plotted here. We have put the title and everything. Simple example, um, how you can use the switch statement in the MATLAB. And these examples should give you a good starting point for using the switch statement in the MATLAB. Now, nested switch statement. Surely in the MATLAB, you can use the nested switch statement to handle multiple levels of conditions. It is possible to have a switch as a part of the statement sequence of an outer switch. Even if the case constants of the inner and outer switch contain common values, no conflict will arise. Using nested switch statement in MATLAB can be beneficial for several reasons: complex decision making, modularity, readability, and avoiding the redundancy. Now let's jump in the MATLAB and see how the nested switch statement works. Now the time for the nested switch. Already the program is created. I'm opening the program. Here the program is opened. We will go and see how the nested switch statement works in the MATLAB. And the example which I have created here, which illustrate how to use the nested switch statement to handle more complex condition. Okay, but the simple example, I'm starting with the two variable a is equal to 1 and b is equal to 2, and starting here the switch. You can see here switch A, switch B. So inside the switch A, I have created a switch B that is called nesting, and this is a nested switch. So in the first switch A, the case 1 is a displayed outer switch A is a 1, okay, and inside the switch another case 2, we are just replaying the message inner switch B is 2, otherwise also used here, and displaying the message B is not 2. And I'm ending this switch here, and for this switch I'm writing the otherwise and displaying A is not 1. And finally outer switch is end here. Let's run this section. Before running, let me clear the workspace and clear the command window as well. Okay, now let's run this. Control and enter. Now you can see if we see the value a is equal to 1 and b is equal to 2, at that time what the message we got is inner switch b is 2. That is, this condition is met true because already 1 is passed, so we are entered here, and that is the reason here we got the, that is inner switch b is 2, right? Now let's, and this is how you can do the nested switch statements. Very simple example. The another example here wanted to show on the weather and temperature, and this is a nested switch for weather and temperature, and this example demonstrate how to use nested switch statement to handle different weather conditions and temperatures. So I gonna write the message the weather is sunny or weather is warm or cold, that way. Sorry, the weather is sunny or it's monsoon or something, and the temperature is written as a warm. So these are the variables I created. Why two variables are differently created? Because for the outer switch inside the case I'm using this as a sunny, and for the inside I'm using variable temperature. So here weather is used, this is a variable, and here the another variable warm is used. Okay, now if you see here, if the sunny is true, then that means we will enter here, and if the temperature is warm, then we will enter here. So let's clear the screen, clear workspace, and then run this section. This section is already selected. I mean running this. So it is warm and sunny. Perfect, because both conditions are met. Now if I change this, instead of sunny, if let's change the weather also. If I go for rainy, okay, and let's go for rainy. Now Look for the spelling correctness, otherwise it will throw an error. Let's run this section. Warm and rainy, because the rainy condition is met. So now we are in the warm and rainy. Now if you want to make this temperature cold, okay, cold, let's run this section. And the message is it is cold and rainy, right? So it reached here. A rainy condition is true. It is entered and it is cold. So we reach here and this is displayed. And if none of them is met, like let's write XYZ, XYZ and run this. Weather is unknown. Or we can go here for sunny and write here XYZ. That is unknown. The temperature is unknown because the value written here is, and that way the program is written for the temperature. Otherwise, condition is temperature unknown because it is not meeting any of the that warm or either cold. It is not meeting. And this is very simple example how you can use your nested statement in your program. These examples should give you a good starting point for using the nested statement in a MATLAB. Now you can start using nested statement in your program and enjoy the programming. Watching this video, I'm sure that you understood what is MATLAB decision-making function switch, how it works in the MATLAB, what are the different ways to use switch case and nested switch case in MATLAB. If you really like this session, then please give this video a thumbs up. To watch more videos like this one, please consider subscribing. Once you hit the subscribe button, you're gonna get the notification anytime new contents like that comes out. And lastly, if you have any queries on this topic you wanna answer me, leave me in the comments below. I read them all. That's all I have for you today. Hope you enjoyed and hope to see you next time. Thank you. Bye bye.